This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC 298. I'm going to give you guys my lock of the week. I'll talk my most confident picks, favorite underdogs, Degen props of the night, and then finish it out with the parlays. Make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. Last week, got our way back with some rhythm on the lock with Loma Lukbume. Yes, it was a chalky locky, but nonetheless, it came through, got me a win, and I'm on my streak again. We're getting towards that double-digit streak. I'm making it happen. Now, record over the past 19 weeks, I still think is pretty commendable. 14, 4, and 1 draw. Looking to get 15 out of 20 with this coming lock. So let's just jump right into it. The lock of the week. Amanda Lemos, lock of the week. I'm taking her over Mackenzie Dern. I think she can cleanly outstrike Dern. I think she's going to be able to avoid grappling pressure and transitions on the floor. Yes, there were some moments in grappling where she had issues against current champion Weili Zhang, but Amanda Lemos versus Weili is a much different matchup than what we have here with Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern can get sloppy on the feet, somewhere that Lemos doesn't get sloppy. She's a tremendous kickboxer. She's very calculated, technical, and precise. Mackenzie Dern has good jiu-jitsu, but she has to get it to the ground. And I feel like Lemos has pretty strong hips and takedown defense. And it's not like Mackenzie Dern is a world-class wrestler on top of her jiu-jitsu game. I could see Mackenzie Dern attempting to even pull guard in this fight. Now, the odds are solid here for a money line. Minus 130. The lock is the money line. I think that is the A side. Could Amanda Lemos potentially do serious damage and end up knocking out a Mackenzie Dern who gets reckless on the feet, caught and put to sleep? Maybe, but it's only plus 145. To risk it for that doesn't get me too excited. Lemos by decision sits at plus 275. It's very valid. Her outstriking Dern in a hard-fought 3-round battle where she does have to avoid some dangerous grappling moments, but altogether is going to find ways out of bad spots in the grappling. I like the money line. That is the A side. Officially, I think betting-wise, at a close value for Lemos, who just fought for the world title, I think it's a little bit of a grab, a little bit of a steal. I mean, she opened up at minus 270. I'm struggling to comprehend so much love on Mackenzie Dern. Yes, she has legit jiu-jitsu, but Amanda Lemos has threatening jiu-jitsu as well. I'm picking Lemos to get this thing done as the lock, and I think she's bringing me to 15 out of 20. So I'm very excited for this week. Last week, it was a women's lock that hit at 115. I'm going women's lock again at 115. We're going Amanda Lemos to win this thing. Lock of the week. I like the money line. The knockout side, though, is not crazy, because I could see Mackenzie Dern getting ripped apart in the striking and end up being dropped by a Lemos, especially with the power that Lemos packs. So I don't think you're nuts for going knockout prop, but the money line is definitely the A side. That is this week's lock. Let's talk some most confident picks. I got 4 of them. We'll bring them up. We'll discuss each one briefly, and then I'll get into, more of an in-depth breakdown of the potential betting lines for props and all together. Barlow to win over Josh Quinlan, minus 190. Ian Gary to win over Jeff Neal, minus 235. Alexander Volkanovski over Ilya Topuria, minus 125. Oban Elliott to win. I wish it was Tim Elliott, because a lot of times Tim Elliott ends up being a really good money line bet. He's been a lock on the show before and came through, but it's Oban this time. I'm only putting Oban Elliott in this slate because I needed 4. For this section, I always do 4. Do I love having Oban Elliott, who's debuting in the UFC, and Val Woodburn, who could be live, and then Elliott's minus 310? Absolutely not. I think that line sucks. We'll talk more about it in a second. Let's talk Danny Barlow first, who I think is going to absolutely destroy Josh Quinlan. I think he's knocking him unconscious. I've made jokes all week saying Josh Quinlan was taking the roids, and then he admitted to taking it because he was insecure of himself. I now question his confidence going into fights without the roids. I like the sociopathic fighters that believe that they were natural forever, even when they were injecting themselves with bull testosterone. That's the type of guy that I would back as a dog, not Josh Quinlan. Danny Barlow's got a reach advantage. He's a nasty striker, and he's going to chin Josh Quinlan. As far as the prop betting side, if you like knockout, because I like knockout, it's plus 125 for Barlow. So you're not getting a beautiful tag to throw that knockout prop out there, but I think it hits, man. I think plus 125 comes through. I'm going knockout. We're going Danny Barlow, KO. The hands will be on fire. Quinlan's going to get touched up from the outside. He got picked apart last fight against Trey Waters. Barlow is more of a knockout artist than Trey Waters is, and I think we got pretty exciting KO incoming this weekend. Next one. Ian Garry. And I know a lot of people are throwing down on Neal. They love him as a dog. He's going to knock Garry out. Obviously, a lot of anti-Ian Garrys out there. But my mentality here is we see a path to victory for the technical striking of Ian Garry to dictate the pace, dictate the range. I think he's got the technical chops where he can find a lot of success. Jeff Neal has been outstruck in past fights. He's taken losses. I mean, Wonder Boy's a tremendous striker that dominated Jeff Neal. Ian Garry on the other side is looking like a really smooth striker too with big potential in the sport. I like the chances of Ian Garry getting a win and continuing fourth on a title run. And I really do believe he's a pretty good prospect. Minus 235, or contender prospect, I should say. I think we're going over, which is minus 140. And then Garry to win this thing by a decision, which is my official call, is plus 150. I do have a hard time seeing him chinning Jeff Neal. I think he'll outstrike him. I think he'll avoid big shots. I think he'll have moments in the fight. I think he'll rip at the legs a bit. But Jeff Neal is dangerous. We have to respect power on the opposite front with Jeff Neal. But I think Ian Garry is going to be too primed, too precise, too slick, too technical. And I think he's getting his hand raised. We're going with Ian Garry. The next one is Alexander Volkanovski. I have to double down on my Volkanovski pick in this main event because it's crazy to see a bettable close money line for Volkanovski in a featherweight fight against anybody outside of like Max Holloway. Volkanovski's in the minus 120 range as a favorite. Ilia Topuria has a great 14-0 record. His best win to date is Josh Emmett. Volkanovski's levels above. Prior to that, win over Bryce Mitchell. Mitchell's a decent grappler, but nowhere near the striking. And I think Alex Volkanovski's live in the grappling department here with with Ilia Topuria defending the grappling of Topuria. I think Volkanovski could do well in wrestling. He trains with Craig Jones, who's a tremendous grappler. Volkanovski's striking, I think, can look smooth in this fight. I see him landing shots. I think Topuria might put himself in harm's way, hunting a finish. Could be the inexperienced side of him. He's 27 years old. I think that we're seeing the hand raised for Volkanovski at the end of it. I think he stops Ilia Topuria. I think he has Topuria tired, worn out, worn down, and finished off. I'm going with greatness over a damn good prospect. And I recognize the 2 wins out of like 20-plus fight statistic for over 35 title fights with guys at 170 or under. But none of those guys were Volkanovski, okay? So I think Alex Volkanovski's getting this thing done. Now, obviously, he lost up a weight to Makhachev, but the previous fight with a full camp, look how good Volkanovski did. He's not that far removed from that, and he destroyed Yair Rodriguez prior. So he takes a short notice fight, he gets knocked out, and now he's losing here to Topuria, who's unproven at the highest level. Not happening. Volkanovski for the W. Volkanovski right now, plus 250 for a knockout, but the money line is where I would lead you because Volkanovski could end up winning a technical hard-fought decision. Minus 126, I'm seeing as low as minus 115. Volkanovski's close money. I got to double down the main event pick, and I'm adding them to the most confident pick section. And then the final one. This one here is Oban Elliott at minus 310. I'm picking Oban because I just don't think Val Woodburn is UFC level. And I think Oban Elliott, at the very least, we got to give some respect for his performance against Kalik Britu. Was able to weather some storms in that fight. Does train with the Shore team. Jack Shore has his father in the corner. I think Oban Elliott can win this thing. I don't love method of victory betting on this one. I think Oban could end up getting it on the cards. Woodburn is cutting down to 170 after formerly being at 85. Bad loss against Bo Nickel. We don't really even know the level. When you look at tape of Val Woodburn outside of the UFC, I don't think he's technical. I think he's kind of a powerhouse, a little sloppy, gets wild, uses his physicality. But Oban Elliott's a well-rounded guy. He's got quality grappling, decent enough striking. I think Oban Elliott, he's going to win the fight. Now, minus 310 sucks. I don't like that. I don't like the money line side. And I almost considered flipping him out for Merab, but I don't like a money line of Merab at minus 222. The section is I always pick 4, okay? But I will tell you guys straight up, that is for the section. Betting-wise, I don't think Oban Elliott is a good money line bet. I don't love Oban Elliott as a lock parlay leg. Not saying you couldn't throw him in something, and not saying I won't, but I don't feel great about saying, hey, guys, yeah, bet this guy Oban Elliott, who looked decent on Contender Series, and now is taking on Val Woodburn, who got knocked out in 20 seconds against Bo Nickel. Yeah, probably Oban's getting his hand raised. I think he's the better MMA fighter. But, like, betting it down with assured confidence, I would say, is somewhat delusional in all actuality. And to that, I'll pop Azinski's. And we're going to keep on running to the next segment. Because this Oban Elliott fight, I'm not telling you throw the house on. I'll just say it's a cautionary, high-confidence pick. I'm confident in the pick. Forget the lines. You're talking about pick. You have minus 110 on both sides. Yeah, Oban Elliott, it would be a good bet. But at minus 310, it holds me back. Now, you might be saying, bro, most confident section, why don't you have Rinya Nakamura? Honestly, another issue was he passed the minus 1,000 territory. Yes, he's going to win. So add Rinya Nakamura as the 5th leg of this most confident pick section. But I just felt, since we're talking betting side, Oban Elliott is on the teetering line of unbettable. Nakamura money line is not even worth talking betting money lines. But I promise you this, I will bring up Rinya Nakamura's name when we talk to Degen props, because I got something that can get us some plus money for him, and he is a high confidence pick. Yes, he's a most confident pick on the card. Yes, Rinya Nakamura is one of my most confident picks. So I'd be doing a disservice not including him as the 5th extension, but, doesn't make the main stage just because, complete unbettability unless you got like a 7-leg parlay going. Let's jump to the next segment. Let's talk some favorite underdogs. This is a segment that gets me excited now. This week specifically, I think I'm on to something with 2 dogs, okay? Roman Kopylov, hell yes, first and foremost. Andrea Lee, okay, plus 160 for Lee. Now you got plus 215 for Kopylov. That's crazy. Kopylov, I see stopping Hernandez's takedowns, touching him up with striking. Hernandez, dangerous and tricky guy, but I think will wilt to Kopylov. But you don't have to touch a prop, and you shouldn't in all actuality. Why? Why chase the knockout prop? Kopylov could win a technical hard-fought decision. Plus 215, I'm getting more than 2-1 on Kopylov. Absolutely. Love Kopylov to win here as a quality underdog. My favorite underdog is Kopylov. Andrea Lee is a women's fight. Yes, she's a dog. It's not my favorite. I think it happens. If Andrea Lee goes out there and loses to Miranda Maverick, though, would I be shocked? No. So bet it cautionary, because Andrea Lee is on a 3-fight losing streak. She's in her mid-30s. I think we might go to a split decision. I think Lee might get it on the split cards. But you don't want to be betting heavy down on a damn split. Minus 325 for over 2.5. I recognize that line sucks, but the over 2.5 is a high confidence call. That's a high confidence pick. That could be in the most confident pick section in all actuality. It's just, if it was 250, maybe I would have switched out Oban for that. I like minus 325 over 2.5. I'm picking Lee as a dog, plus 160. Not horrible. Not telling you go bet the house, but these are underdogs that I'm picking, and I think she could end up winning a split decision. But you're betting a split decision, you're going to be sweating heavy. The over 2.5 seems like a good parlay extension. Those are my favorite dogs on the card. Let's jump to the next section, which is the Degen props of the night. Now I can have some fun. Rinya Nakamura, okay? I was like, how do I find plus tags on Rinya Nakamura? I'll tell you how you do it. Nakamura by sub is in the plus 225 range, but up to plus 335 too. I like Rinya Nakamura's chances. I do a lot. Could he knock him out? That's plus 110. Sure. Maybe you're betting both. I like the plus 225 possibility of this sub, though. It totally jumped off the page to me, him winning it by submission, and I'm glad that you find a little plus money. Now, obviously, decision there at plus 225, but Nakamura historically has been a finisher. I know against Fernie, he went distance. Fernie Garcia now got destroyed by Hyder Mill last week. But let's be fair. He took that Hyder and Mill fight on days' notice. So he got ran over by a bigger dude who was unbeaten. I think Rinya Nakamura is live to get the finish streak rolling again here against Carlos Vera. So I like sub. Now looking at Marcos Rogerio de Lima winning by submission. This is a D-Gen, but it's not that D-Gen. Plus 400. What is Tafa going to look like on his back? His brother looked kind of bad on his back against Mohammed Usman, who doesn't have near the jiu-jitsu of de Lima. So I like the chances of de Lima winning this thing, and I think he's live to get a sub. Now, the next one, Merab Dvalishvili. I like the decision win for Merab in this fight. Now, I know it's minus 135, so not super D-Gen, but I would be kind of shocked if he stops Cejudo, and I think Cejudo's going to get outpaced and outworked in this fight here. Merab is a guy that was close to the most confident pick section. He was right there, but it's like my respect for Cejudo's game was enough that I'm like, man, at minus 220 range, betting it, money line is not beautiful. I'll put him in the D-Gen prop section. I like the chances of a decision. Now, also, the under in this fight sucks at minus 300. Wow, I thought it'd be better. But somebody's getting knocked out in this fight between Zhang and Brenderson Ribeiro. I picked Zhang, but that could very well be a complete fumble. This one here is an under fight. I think they're going to go to war for a round, and I think somebody is getting absolutely starched. So I really like the way this card's shaping up. I think there's some decent sniper bets to potentially make. And listen, let's jump to the next segment, which is the parlays to play. Okay, so parlay section, I really like Danny Barlow. I really like this over. I know it's not great at minus 104, but it should happen. Now, if you want to add more steam to it, you're like, all right, I'm going to throw your lock in there, AJ. I want to put the Amanda Lemos call. Now, you got plus 247. I think that's quality. What do we get if we add Rinya? Barely anything. Plus 276. I guess Kopylov would be it. This would be the Savage plus 1,000 call. Barlow, the over in the women's fight, Lemos, and Kopylov. That is a plus 1,000, and I see it happening. This is my favorite parlay to run in that plus 1,000 range, where I feel like I'm not being like completely reliant on favorite money lines. I got two favorites. Yeah, I got a favorite line for the over, but it's a women's fight. It's going to go over. Then I got Kopylov, who I think is an amazing underdog, and it's Mike Finch's lock this week. Let's see. Do we want to mix something up? Oban Elliott. Do I want to chance it? Barlow Elliott plus 109. Maybe you're like, bro, keep me off of the prelims. I just want main fights. Or maybe you want a featured prelim, but you just want big names. Lemos and Kopylov together is plus 448. That's a pretty quality line. Do you want Merab? Maybe you do. It's minus 200. But if you don't like the money line of Merab, fight going over can still bring you to plus 600. Then if you had the women's over too, you're like locking in up overs. You're looking at plus 788. Lemos, Kopylov, 2 overs. I like that a lot. You don't want the dog Kopylov because I know there are some Fluffy Hernandez backers out there. So we'll take them off. Plus 186 for Lemos and 2 overs, which I also think has a pretty solid chance of ending up coming to fruition here. And we'll throw Barlow in. Plus 344. Some conservative parlays with some savagery. I do have to bring some absolute savagery, though, at the end. I mean, I'll throw Volkanovski on the lineup. I'm going to throw Kopylov back on it. Plus 2,500. Let's go Ian Garry on our slate, plus 3,676. I think that's beautiful, too. Another one, though, this is safety mode. I like the side of Lemos, and I like the side of Ian Garry, too, plus 157. I think this is a good main fight, featured prelim and a quality main card matchup with, highly experienced, I guess, and pedigreed guys at this point. I think Ian Gary's pedigreed enough. I mean, clean win over, Neal Magny last time. Neal is a good fight, good step in competition. Stylistically, more interesting fight than Neal Magny. But Neal Magny did beat Jeff Neal, dominated him against the cage for 3 rounds. I like that section. I like where my head is at for these parlays. I think I kept it on, not super degen, but a little bit of degeneracy. I hope you guys liked this week's calls. I definitely am feeling some of these most confident picks and favorite dogs. Looking forward to the weigh-ins so we can get, you know, a real locked eye view at everything and see what the vibes are like at the face-offs, get some reads on body language, and drop the official final picks. Content every single day. Make sure you're subscribed if you haven't. Much love to everybody. Smash those likes. Drop a W in the comments if you got nothing to say, but definitely let me know. What is your lock of the week? I'm curious what my people are thinking. Let's catch some W's this weekend, guys. Thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.